Welcome to No Instructions. I'm Bob.
No, I'm Josh.
And I'm Anthony.
I'm Forby.
And we are having a 4-person podcast at a distance. Kind of weird, but kind of cool that we can.
Mm-hmm. Glad that we built a really big table specifically for this purpose.
Yes.
And have used it one time.
Yeah. It was unfortunate, the timing of that whole thing. But it's out there. It's waiting. This won't last forever. We'll be back to doing these at the table at some point. And once all this clears up, we got to get 4B up here to visit again.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Although it has been cool. It has been cool to do more online calls and stuff like that and just figure it out. I mean, I guess we're all sort of in our own little pods now, but that kind of makes it like I'm kind of in the same office with you guys more often, a little bit.
Yeah. You have your own annex.
Yeah.
It's over there.
It's just like we keep him in a closet. We all work in one room normally, and he's always in another room.
Yeah.
Like Ryan from The Office.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll like keep that up. That'll be an interesting thing. It has been really cool that we have like kind of an ongoing meeting throughout the days now with all four of us, and I'm sure that's something we'll probably keep up after all this is over. But yeah, so what's going on? Anybody out doing fun stuff? Going anywhere?
Nope.
There was sarcasm all wrapped up.
Kitchen,
in that,
living room, bathroom.
We went on a mini road trip yesterday.
Ooh.
We got in the van, filled up the gas tank here so we didn't have to get out anywhere, which I guess didn't really matter at that point. I used a napkin. It was funny. Like there's the paper towels over by the window washing thing, which I never cared about. And I'm like, oh, just grab one of those little guys. We filled up our van. Oh man, for $11.50.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, we had a 30-cent off Kroger
nice
coupon. I took a picture of it. It was great. We filled up for it was 92 or 94 cents a gallon. Awesome.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's like back in the late 90s when I learned how to drive, and $20 could get you anywhere in the wide world.
I had to fill up yesterday. I went out and I keep like a thing of Lysol wipes like in the car now. So just everywhere I go, I always like pull one out and throw it in my pocket, and then anytime I have to touch anything, I wipe it down first or whatever. And I realized that it's like the perfect size to just wrap your hand in it. And I did all of the gas-related stuff holding a Lysol wipe, and then I got done and just dropped it in the trash and got back in my car. It was pretty cool, you know.
Nice.
It's the same thing with that paper towel. Grab the paper towel, use it to push the buttons, grab the thing. Yep, same thing.
Yeah, the weird thing for me is I feel like I haven't gone to the gas station in like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Except for once to get a slushie, but
A different kind of feeling.
Because I can walk there from my house. But yeah, it's weird. I'm used to going like 2, sometimes 3 times a week because I have a relatively long commute, and
that's right.
Old news. So this is what electric car owners feel like, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Except that they have to stop every like hour and a half to like wait 2 hours to charge up their cars. But other than that, yeah.
And their pinkies in the air probably get really tired. When we lived in Europe, a lot of the gas stations would have like disposable gloves, like those really big, oversized Mickey Mouse looking gloves that like lunch ladies wear. Mm-hmm. They would have them in a little box, and I would see people do that. And I remember thinking, like, you super posh European don't even want to touch like the gas pump because you might get a little bit of stuff on your hands. And then this whole thing, I'm like, man, we need some like gloves maybe out here. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's why smarter people than me do that everywhere else in the world.
A friend of mine in college that was from New Jersey, when she came down to Georgia for school, she had a pair of gloves that she would keep in her car for whenever she would fill up gas. And I mean, I had just never seen anyone have gloves in their car for that purpose. And I thought it was super weird, but I immediately just thought of that with all of this going on right now and just realizing like how much stuff can be on just wherever you touch it, but especially at gas stations. And yeah, I think she probably had a good thing going.
Yeah,
she's probably pretty smart.
Isn't New Jersey one of the states where you can't pump your own gas? I think it was
Yes.
Oregon and New Jersey.
So for her, she, I think part of it for her, and we were all in college, so we hadn't been driving a whole like for a long time previously anyway. But she just thought that gas stations were just so dirty, or like they weren't allowed, but partially because it either wasn't safe or it was like super dirty. So she kind of had a little fear of, I think, of pumping her own gas a little bit, and we thought it was pretty funny, but. Yeah,
it is funny.
Yeah, I went to Oregon the first time, and the guy like met me out there. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, I'm here to pump your gas. I'm like, no, I'm good. You can go away. He's like, no, I have to.
Legally, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so strange.
Law.
It is. I went to after pumping gas yesterday. I went to the grocery store, and I think we've talked about it in the last few weeks or whatever. But every time I've gone to the store, the ratio of people in masks to not masks and the people wearing gloves to not gloves is just shifted. At first it was like occasionally you'd see a mask. Now if I see somebody without a mask, I'm like, ooh, they're a rebel. They must be too cool or something. But I was walking around yesterday, and I'm so used to going to the store. I typically will run into somebody I know, and I at least say hi. But even if I don't see somebody I know, I smile at people when I'm passing them in the store. Everybody's there for the same reason, just people smile at each other. And I'm walking around with a mask on, and I look at somebody who also has a mask on, and I smiled at them. And then I walked on, and it dawned on me, like, they couldn't see me smile. And I have no idea if they were smiling at me. Like, what a weird, like, it's a social distancing thing, but not from the perspective of just, like, physical distance. Like, I have no idea what that person is doing with their face. If they had sunglasses on, I would have no idea what they were doing with their face at all. It's just a weird impediment. Everybody's just not only trying to stay away from each other, but you're also hiding your expressions. Not on purpose, but it's just, I don't know, strange.
I'd have very expressive eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just do like clear masks. So that you could still see your mouth underneath them, I guess, or something.
Somebody designed one of those for deaf patients who who lip read, good grief, and for like doctors who don't know sign language. And it has just like a little clear piece right in the middle. It looked really crazy, but I guess it had a purpose, and so you wouldn't use it for every patient. You use it specifically for deaf patients. That was kind of a cool way to adapt what everybody's already doing, trying to help out making masks.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be, because I've seen a lot of people with masks, like just the little disposable ones or like sewn ones or whatever. But I haven't seen anybody at the store with like a big face shield, like the big clear, thing. But that'd be kind of cool to be like the one person in your store walking around with like a full, everybody can see my face and I can smile and I can run into stuff and it won't hit me in the eye because I have a giant face shield on.
If I could see better out of my War Machine helmet, I would wear this everywhere. I was thinking about making some new eyepieces because these have like little dots to make them like diffuse the light. But yeah, I would wear my War Machine helmet everywhere if I could see better.
I hadn't even thought about that. I could wear my Shore Trooper helmet. I can see out of it pretty well. Everything's just dark because it has like a tinted.
We can
visor.
hang out. Like we can be the two people that can hang out. We just have to keep our helmets on. And not see very well. So just like go to the store.
Yeah, your periphery is like really, so you have to turn your head really wide wherever you're going.
Constantly bump into people, but like, it's okay. I'm protected.
We think that we're actually talking, but we're really accidentally sitting like 50 feet away from each other because we can't see each other.
Our next Between the Builds video. Bob and Josh go shopping.
At a distance.
Yeah.
I thought our next Between the Builds video would just be like a compilation of screen captures of all of our work meetings.
Could be. I was actually thinking about that yesterday, how like we can't make those right now. But then I was like, I guess I could make one by myself. I don't know what it would be, but like I could just go do a thing that's Between the Builds, I guess. I don't know if it would be as interesting, but I was watching, we were talking about it earlier today offline, but I was watching Peter McKinnon videos the other night and just like, he's so good at making mundane things seem interesting and appealing. He just makes good video no matter what the thing is, the subject is. I was like, oh, maybe that could give me some idea for something I could go film that wasn't, the thing itself wasn't interesting, but like maybe there's an interesting video around something for that specific case, but I don't know.
Go out to the farm. I think people are still kind of intrigued with that kind of secret space. I know you've made the camping site, and you've done that on Instagram. I wonder if there's enough meat in there to try to make. I like how we went from we shifted from podcast to morning meeting. Right about there.
Now we're content schedule. Yeah.
We should talk about what we did in our morning meeting today.
Back to podcast. Oh yeah. Go ahead, Anthony. Tell everybody about what we did in our meeting this morning.
Speaking of shifting in our morning meetings, we went from talking about work stuff to, oh look, we're all in a Minecraft server together for at least 20 or 30 minutes. So we just thought about having our whole podcast happen inside of the Minecraft server. Maybe someday. And
teaching Bob what Minecraft is and how to just watching him walk around and how do I mine a tree? What do I do with the tree? Where's a bed?
Tree a bunch?
Yeah. Just punch that tree, man. Keep going, and then he just walks into the woods.
I'm like, well, there's probably trees over there. I can go beat up those trees.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
Some rocks I can beat up with the tree that I just beat up.
That's how it works.
It's funny because I played Minecraft briefly not when it first came out, but closer to when it came out. I got it on like the PS4, I guess, because my oldest son was interested in playing it at the time, and he was too young to play it. But I was like, I'll just go ahead and get it and start kind of learning it. And I went through all of the tutorial level type stuff to get it, and I was like, oh, cool. Now whenever he's ready, I can play it. And then multiple years went by, and I never touched it. And so now I guess all three of my boys are into playing it, and they're creating crazy stuff, and they have this whole world that they've built together and everything, and they don't need me to teach them how to do it, so I don't ever sit down to play it. So I go into this world that you guys have been playing in, and there's these like giant castles and cool houses with all sorts of materials and stuff and animals. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I forgot, and I don't want to go through the tutorial levels again because I'm impatient. But
yeah,
I think that's exactly how I came about. Wes and Nicole and Tori, who we'll talk about in a little bit, and George from Technically Woodworking, they were in there, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, and you just like dig up some dirt, and now it's like you evolve as a human being. I'm like, I'm gonna make a dirt hut, and then you get some wood, and I'm like, now I'm gonna add a wooden door to my dirt hut, and then eventually you have to mine things, as the name suggests. Because I'm like, how do you guys have all this crazy stuff? They're like, you go mine for it and you find it. It's not just like you go to a store and you pay the person like in Zelda. Like, you have to make all the stuff that you want. And it's just, there's endless possibilities. It's pretty crazy.
Which makes the giant buildings and towers that people have built even more impressive, because not only did they spend hours building that tower, they spent hours mining for all that material.
Yeah.
In creative mode, or survival mode anyway.
Yeah, survival.
Yeah, my son used to play with my nephew, and they would play in creative mode where you could just build whatever you wanted to. There were no bad guys. You didn't have to sleep or eat. And now, like, that's what I thought I was getting into. I'm like, all right, where's my treasure trove of infinite resources?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fart, I don't have any. And then, like, some skeleton guy would show up and hit me with an arrow while I'm building my dirt hut. And I'd start yelling and running away. And then a little green phallic guy would explode. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening in this game.
So, when I quit today, I just left myself out in the woods. Am I going to get eaten by something? Or
no, but you'll show back up there when you open it up again. So if it's nighttime and you just pop into the woods, you might need to go find a house.
Or build one.
Okay.
Or build one out of dirt.
I mean, you could.
I guess so.
You just dig yourself into a hole and then close
put
the
a door
top
on it. Yeah.
Well, that's what my boys do, is they'll like make a hole underground and then like go down and then dig another little cavern, and then they fill up the first one with lava and then go hide in the second one. So if somebody comes to get them, they fall into the lava pit and they just burn up. And then like,
that's a smart
I guess
move.
when they go to wake up, they just dig themselves straight out or something. I don't know, but
I made a boat. Donovan from Once Upon a Workbench is also in there, and he like, we're mining for things. They're trying to find diamonds and all this, and like, it takes a lot of work, and they're just randomly placed, and they're only on certain levels of the game. So it's a crapshoot whether you find anything. And he talked about a treasure chest out by like the mermaids. There's mermaids that like shoot tridents at you and stuff. So Wes from Geeksmithing and I went on this little voyage, and I found a sunken ship and found 2 treasure chests in the sunken ship, and it's filled with like gold and diamonds and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, it would have taken days to try to happen upon certain things. And I was like, I just found this amazing treasure trove. I'm like, let's do this. So I have a little like beachside outpost that I can go out there and like have a base of operation. I made a gigantic tower that's like 80 blocks high and has water coming off, so I always know that I can look for that giant tower and for a reference point. It's little silly things like that. And like I didn't know that there were other people. There's like innate villagers, and there were pillagers that I learned accidentally. My middle son and I were out like playing around in the desert, and this band of like 10 dudes start shooting us with crossbows, and my poor son is freaking out, like scared, and then we die out in the middle of nowhere. And so then, like, if you have stuff on you when you die, it just like lays on the ground. And so I showed back up to our original place with nothing, and then I get mad because I died at the hand of another person. So like I get Wes and George, I'm like, we got to go avenge these. Like I want to seek some revenge. So we find the house, or the big stronghold outpost thing they have, straight up kill everybody. And I get all my stuff back, and I'm like, I want to light that building on fire to teach him a lesson. So Wes happens to have like a bucket of lava in his inventory, climbs up to the tippy top of this gigantic tower thing, pours the lava on the top, and it just like lava overflows. And it just creates this massive, and it just stays there forever now. So if you go wandering off, you could come up to like this 20-story, fully engulfed lava blob that was these other people's outposts, and they killed me one time, so we smited them. It's a monument to that epic war.
Man, that sounds like something that your Dungeons and Dragons character would also do.
Oh, we gotta talk about that. Yeah. So Bob and I have talked about Dungeons and Dragons and wanting to play. People have given us a lot of great feedback on where to start and how to do it. We came up with some characters, rudimentary characters, Anthony and I did on our way down to Workbench Con. We have been working behind the scenes with WhenGeeksCraft, Tori and Nicole. They've been helping us refine our characters and get ready. And Nicole created our own campaign for us that we played what day is now? I don't know. The other day. I'll just say that. We played it the other day. How was it, gentlemen? How was our quest? Forby, what did you think about it?
I thought it was fantastic. I had a great time. Excuse me. I haven't ever played. I've played something similar. It wasn't full Dungeons and Dragons. It was something that kind of helps you along and gives it. It's kind of more on rails. So this is my first like little one-shot campaign, and you make your character and stuff. And I had an absolutely great time. It was a blast.
Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like I was incredibly overwhelmed with everything, involved in building your character for the first time. So I just kind of did my best to understand. If I were to do it again, I definitely have a better understanding of what all these numbers and things mean as you build your character, because I understand the mechanics of the game now. But when we first started the game and we were kind of introducing ourselves around our table full of food and money, I felt unprepared. But once we got into the game, I started to get more comfortable, and I felt like my character was instantly like starting to blossom and grow, and personality traits were starting to come to me and things like that. And it was a lot of fun. Despite I feel like I had a rough start, I had a fantastic time and had some pretty good moments. I think I had some of the best moments, not to toot my own horn, but according to Nicole, I mean, I didn't start the fiery poop tornado, but we can get to that. That was probably the highlight of the game.
Yeah, my wife was sitting in the corner. She was sewing up some masks while we were playing the game, so she could only hear me. And she was like, what sentences are you saying right now? And so I started writing down some stuff that we were talking about, and we can get to those. I was really surprised. And like we started out around a table. Nicole had like a digital game board. She had us all kind of introduce ourselves. And that was the moment I'm like, oh, like, it's time to get into my character in the story. Like, I'm no longer Josh. I have to be Droxwick, like my character. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. And it's um, a very noticeable like shift. And we had a lot of questions. So like, there would be times where we would like break character just to ask like technical stuff. But like, I was talking in that game like I was my character. And once you kind of fully buy into it, I'm like, this is really fun. And that's when the storiness and the gameplay melted together. Where like, personally wouldn't maybe act this way, but like the guy that I have in my head, my character in my head, would probably do this. So let's do it.
Yeah, that was an interesting transition for me too, because I went into this thinking we were playing a game, but I came out of it thinking we were creating a story. And I think that's actually a better way to think about it, because as Nicole said, it's collaborative storytelling. It's not so much just a board game. And when you think of it that way, it's fun because you can be as creative as you want, but you have those moments when you got to roll your dice that force you to make different decisions, and that's where the fun really begins to happen.
Now, Bob, you were a passive observer. How did you feel? Because you were trying to be like a dungeon master in training. You're shadowing. How did you get a feel for the whole thing?
Well, so I mean, I tried to create a character beforehand. One night, they spent time with all of us, and I was late to that party, so I was late in getting started on the character, and I was just thoroughly confused as to everything, like all of the terminology, and I think everybody was to a point, but coming in late to it, it felt like everybody else had this like, oh, well, they must have already gone over what this thing is, or where to get these papers, or what fields they're actually talking about. I was completely, totally lost. And so rather than trying to do that, I was just like, well, I'll set the character aside and I'll just try to learn how to be a DM. And then watching your game and watching her, I know she's played a lot and she is really good at it, but watching her kind of move through the management and the storytelling and just like adjusting to your actions on the fly, I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I'd like to. I mean, it seems like it'd be fun. I don't think I'm capable of that. Like I guess the DM role is probably not what I think it is what I was expecting, but seeing somebody really do it and do a good job of it and everybody have fun, I was just like, I don't think I can, like I don't have I guess every DM has to start somewhere, and they don't necessarily know all of the options and all of the things that everybody, 'cause she was reacting a lot to your actions with knowledge about how the whole thing works. And so without that knowledge, it feels like your reactions would be a little thin. Or
it would slow it down. Like you can reference the book, and I think it would, I think where her husband, who was a DM, he was in the background kind of muddling stuff to her. He was more experienced at running the game than she was, even though she did a fantastic job. The reference book allowed her to look up certain things, like which die you would use, how it reacted to certain stuff. So it would there would be little moments where she would pause and have to look stuff up. But I think that just comes with just institutional knowledge of the game and the individual spell.
Yeah.
And there's so much involved in that storytelling. So to have all that stuff memorized is uncanny.
Yeah.
And I never felt either when she was like flipping through the book that it was slowing us down, or I never got that vibe at all. It just felt like it was a part of the gameplay. Well,
she is the storyteller. Like when we would react, like her reaction as the kind of narrator, also was really fun. And so while she may have been looking stuff up, she would react to how we were telling our part of the story, and it was a really, like you talk about, collaborative. Like even those moments where something had to be looked up because she may not have memorized the entire book, it was really fun. She would laugh along where we wanted to laugh. She would take her reactions to our moves or our decisions like would affect the game. So she had like a rough outline of how it was supposed to go together. There was a wizard that was turned into a sheep. We had to go get this wand from an evil wizard. Like it had a rough outline. And then based on our decisions, she would alter the outline. And it was really impressive.
Yeah, so for me, I think I probably need to be comfortable to do that portion of it. I think I probably need to be a player for a while first. I think I need to go through the process of figuring out the character and then play along with it, understand the kind of process and get the kind of feel for it, which it seemed like watching you guys, it seems like that's what you were doing. And so I was just late to the party to be able to like be in on that, but I still learned a whole lot from it, and it was fun watching everybody come up and try to figure it out and try to come up with what to do and stuff. And some just really funny offbeat moments, because at the beginning you guys were all like in one little pod reacting to this certain little situation, and then all of a sudden everybody was like, oh, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna go over there, and I'm gonna go over there, and then everybody just did weird dumb separate things. And then we were like, okay, we got to get out of town because we just ruined everything. Like, let's all go together down the path, and it was fun to watch.
I feel like after that, though, like after we all kind of went like we're in town and we're all kind of doing different things while we have kind of in the story a little bit of free time. After that, though, like close to especially the final sort of battle that we did, I feel like that's when for me it started to really click. Mm-hmm. Us kind of fighting together. Anthony, your character did sort of area of effect, and that helped my character to do a lot of damage. You two were fighting with range while my character was, kind of doing whatever he could. I mean, there was a little bit more of our characters working towards the same goal rather than everybody just trying to do their own thing. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's when the story and the collaborativeness really started to make sense in my mind without me having to think about all the statistics and stuff as much. I liked by the end of it, I was feeling a lot more comfortable with it, and it was really fun.
I feel like we were almost like a medieval, fantastical Guardians of the Galaxy. The way we started,
a little bit,
like kind of disjointed and destroying the area we're in, to the end becoming a team and being somewhat successful in a way.
Yeah. And then the ending.
Yeah, the ending was.
Before we get to, I
okay.
think I like how this is. I can see how this is very repeatable, and how people want to have like habitual nights, because like if we were to play Risk, if you get that person who camps out on Madagascar, the next time they play, they're probably going to do the same thing. And so like there is a way to kind of win. And so with this being a dice game, it's based on chance. And so when we started our big push in our big epic kind of battle, the game board you had was all blacked out, and so you couldn't see what was happening. Mm-hmm. And so you could make a decision based on strategy and based on a bunch of stuff. And like we kind of got into like a huddle, or like, this is what we're going to do. And just like all things, like a great plan doesn't survive, first contact. Like Forby's character is a monk, so he doesn't have a lot of weapons. Like he was going to go and like spy, and we were going to like use a shout thing to do this very strategic move. And then Forby rolls like a crap hand.
Yeah.
And all of the bad guys like immediately find him, and it's like, well, and then those bad guys alert these bad guys, and then a giant bear is standing right next to my character, and I'm like, well, that plan all went to crap.
Sure. It's fighting,
literally.
Fighting.
Yeah.
My character is a human fighter, but he's what am I called? An Eldritch Knight. So I have a little bit of magic. And so, like, she unblacked out a certain piece, because when everybody was alerted to Forby's position, everybody started coming out of the woodwork, and I, like, lit this building on fire with, like, a firebomb thing, and apparently it was an outhouse. And so she said that the huge fireball that we lit created a tornado inside with this giant bear that was covered in poop amongst a poop tornado. And like, that stuff is, like... Bob, I don't know how long you stuck around.
I wasn't around for that, no.
Oh, man.
There's a gigantic... I gotta write these down. There's a gigantic poop tornado, and then the bear multiplied in size.
Oh, that's right.
A large bear covered in feces. Forby accidentally, with a bad roll, alerted 3 apes that alerted everybody else. The evil wizard was inside, so once we all started fighting, the evil wizard came out on a dragon that he had made from a queen-size bed that shot wood chips at people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right. In the beginning,
Typical.
where we're trying to go, like, load up, like you would stop at the store in Zelda or something and, like, buy a sword or buy a whatever. Anthony robbed a blacksmith by trying to like be really suave and have sleight of hand, and he rolled a bad hand. And then he like attacked the blacksmith with ball bearings and made him fall and hit his head. So he stole a bunch of arrows.
I documented that whole story, by the way.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then my character paid the guy off because he felt bad.
It takes a lot to make your character feel bad.
Yeah, the term "shoot him in the cloaca" was yelled more than one time. with the queen size bed dragon, we were trying to figure out how to kill it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Use the chimp as a human shield was yelled one time.
The dead chimp,
The
wasn't
dead
it?
chimp.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because Forby's very peaceful monk character ended up like massacring these 3 chimps at point blank range.
While they were on the floor laughing.
Yeah. Oh man. It was super crazy and super fun, and I really liked the randomness to it. That the strategy we had, I think, would have worked, and then it could go one of 2 ways, and those decisions were bad, and certain decisions were great.
Can you explain how we lost but succeeded all at the same time?
Yeah. So the deal was to get this wand to give it back to this wizard who was turned into a sheep, who originally alerted us at the beginning of the game. So he like hid while we're fighting the bad wizard trying to get the wand back. So we finally get him. I think my character finally killed the wizard because the wizard turned into this big gelatinous goo thing with teeth. We killed him, we got the wand back, but the wand, kind of like Maui's hook in Moana, was like broken, and we don't know if it was going to work. So he wanted to turn the sheep back into the good wizard. Tori had to roll the dice to see, like, did it work? Or did the thing break? And he rolled, I guess, a bad roll.
Yeah.
And it exploded the sheep. So he
And that's it.
exploded. My very stoic, like, Drax John Wick character came up and smashed the wand, and there's no more bad guys in this castle, so then we just kept the castle. So we keep it.
And that was the end of it?
That was the end.
That was the end of the
So
game.
the sheep that we were trying to protect the whole time, we brought him back to restore his rightful place as the town's wizard, and he just explodes.
And we whoopsie-daisied.
So the town was basically ours at the end of the game.
Yeah, and she was mentioning that, like, he employed a lot of people in the town. I'm like, well, whatever. We'll figure that out later. We will. This castle's mine now. But
that sounds cool.
All the homework stuff, like, we have these sheets, like all the numbers, and like roll for this and try to see if your attack actually hits, and it was really neat because it seemed really tedious up front. I'm like, I have to go through this book and try to like reference stuff in the front and in the back and keep flipping back like it was a textbook. And then you write everything on here, and I don't remember how I got a lot of these numbers. But then when you're playing, how you developed your character and like the stuff you chose to bring with you, or special skills that you chose to highlight, like really come into effect. And Anthony chose some crazy ones. I apparently chose some crazy ones, causing huge fiery poop tornadoes. But and throughout the game, you can develop your character and you can level up and get better, and you can make different choices. And it was really, really fun. And I giggled probably the first like half an hour of the game. I just like giggled maniacally to myself because it was just fun and silly.
Yeah.
Now somebody's going to have to help me go through my character and go through all that process again so that I can play next time.
Yeah, it would be worth it.
You should.
Yeah, I had 2 goals for that night's game, and because of the character I made, one of the items I had was a burglar's pack, which included 1,000 ball bearings. And amidst that, I also picked a spell called Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which is the one that caused all the enemies to basically fall on the ground in an uncontrollable laughter. My goal was to use both my ball bearings and that spell, and I exceeded expectations, and it was very rewarding.
Yeah.
It made for some very funny moments. What about, did you guys have any like goals or like things you wanted to achieve in this first game that you met or didn't meet?
I didn't. Whenever I like announced my character at the table, I could see my character like in this little world that she was describing, and I could see how he would react to things in that world, and I kind of got like fully into my character, and I think that was the most fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it was neat because 4B did the same thing. Like, you would describe what your character was doing, how he would react to things. Like, it was a lot of detail, and it allowed me to. At one point, Anthony mentioned the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of reference, and I started seeing like all of our characters interacting with each other, and then it kind of allowed me to, like, the more you stayed on brand, you could. I started to think about like what that person would do on their next move, or where they're gonna go. Or I know that Anthony's character is kind of sniveling, like it's kind of weaselly, and he likes to hide a lot and shoot arrows from really far away after stealing things.
I'm very weak.
But it made sense, like in the story that I was able to picture because it was so well crafted. Like it all just went together.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I documented the event with the blacksmith, was because like it made me wish I was an animator or something like that, because I would love to make some sort of visual story out of this, whether it's a short film or. There's so many moments that I think would make a really compelling, like, little animated short or a short film that you shot. I don't know. There were a lot of those moments. And the part of me that enjoys storytelling so much enjoyed the game so much more because it felt like we were, in a way, writing a screenplay or a short story or something like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess it would just be like an auto-fillable story.
Like a very complex Mad Lib.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's true. So,
do y'all want to
plans to play another game soon? Like, did you guys make plans for another?
We didn't schedule another one.
It was like midnight when
she
we wrapped
kind of
up.
left it like, here was like the teaching moment, and I think she expected you wanting to be a DM, like you would just kind of take the reins and we would have our own thing. So I'll definitely talk to her and see if we're cool enough to sit at their actual table. And not just like a band of kindergartners who just learned how to ride a bike. Like, I don't know. We'll see. She did mention at the end, both Nicole and Tori, that it was a really fun game because we were really good at the story. Like, we bought into it. Our characters reacted like our characters should. Like, the decisions that we personally, as players in the game, like, it was on brand for my character and Forby's character and Anthony's character. So that made it for a really good story. I anticipated that I would, like, go out in left field and try to, like, break the thing to try to win in some underhanded way. But the moment she started talking, I'm like, nope, my character would do this. And he would snarl at somebody when they made a snide comment. And then I'm like, you have to roll for intimidation. And I rolled, and I got a high number. She's like, oh, that person cowered in the corner because you made them scared because I'm a gigantic guy with, like, an eye patch. And I'm like, well, this is cool. It's like, it's all of my sarcasticness went right out the window when I could be and then going to Hero Forge, going to the website and creating a character that you can 3D print. I think that super duper helped because I could take what I had in my head and I could create a little digital embodiment of it. And then you can take a screenshot of your thing and you can use it as your character in the game. But it completed the persona. Like, I could see my character doing a thing because he's bald, he has an eye patch, like, and I wouldn't have added those elements to him unless I had those options in Hero Forge, that kind of character builder thing. And I was trying for the longest time to picture Forby's character. And then whenever you uploaded him, I'm like, now I get it. Now it brings it all full circle, and now I can be fully immersed in what we're doing because I can see. I made up my own image of Anthony's because he just had a picture of Dwight Schrute on there, which was funny.
Yeah.
I was about to apologize for that.
Yeah.
Have we said who our characters were? Have we described them yet?
Well, we have not.
You
I wrote them down if you want to talk about it. Before, why don't you go first?
Okay. So I chose a very perceptive OCD elf monk named Adrian Shaloub. And he is in search of his wife's murderer. Did you? Okay, so the whole
just got that.
So the whole point for and we had talked about it before, but like,
and that's his character thing.
Right. So
while we were playing, I'm like, what is that from?
Yeah. So trying to choose a character to like base it off of, just to sort of inform what the character would do. I was trying to make Adrian Monk from the show Monk as a character, but he wasn't. I wasn't imagining that he would be so sort of wilting and defenseless as Monk is in the show. And the Monk ended up being like pretty good at taking out enemies in our little campaign, but just having something to base it off of and giving him like he wanted everything to be like neat and orderly, and like if anybody touched him he would like have to readjust his shirt or something like that, which was kind of a fun little flavor to put on it. But yeah, that was me. I was Adrian.
I was Draxwick, which, like we talked about before, is a combination of Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy and John Wick. He was a very large human fighter with a big, long sword and a shield. He's bald and has a beard and has an eye patch because he's battle-hardened and reacts to things in a very defensive and, like, everything is fine, we're all good, we want to maintain peace until stuff starts going down, and then I'm going to start smashing and I'm going to, like, annihilate stuff in front of me. And it was pretty neat to, like, having really good dice rolls and then having that reinforced where I would fight this one person who tried to come at us the first time. And it was like, you could talk to the person or you could just see what's going on. And then she was like, then you see he has an axe. I'm like, long sword to the face right now. And then roll a dice. Because I imagine that's what this guy would do. He'd be very hip pocket and like a hair trigger.
Yeah, for me, my character was kind of born out of the threat level midnight episode of The Office. His name was Dwigged. So he's based off of a character, But it's funny because this game helped me shape my character more than actually creating the character before the game did. And I honestly, I think if I continue to use this character, I'm going to make some changes. But essentially, he was a rogue wood elf with a what's the subcategory of arcane trickster, which gave me some cool abilities. So I was supposed to be very stealthy and have be a smooth talker and have great sleight of hand. So my dexterity modifier was high, which is why I attempted to steal arrows from the blacksmith, and I just got a really bad roll, like really bad. But basically, a little bit of the backstory is I was a wood elf. I was promised, the throne of my realm, and my aloof overseer basically unwillingly kind of cast me to the side, and I didn't get what I was promised, very much like Dwight being the assistant to the regional manager. So he basically rebels and tries to form a coup and fails and runs off and into self-isolation and trains himself into this rogue wood elf that he became, and eventually met up with this party that we've created. But I had a lot of fun, and I almost want to take some of the funny elements that were born out of this game that we had the other night, inject them into my character, and just kind of strip the Office background out of it, because it almost feels a little too silly,
too hammy.
Too hammy. Because there's that part of me that's like, okay, that was really fun. I kind of want to get serious about playing this game, but obviously still have fun with it. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So
Bob, who was the character
Bob's
that?
Character
Yeah.
had a name, and Nicole was like, "Who is this name?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's Bob Claggett." What is your character's name, Bob?
It was named Porkins Hogwater. I don't know why. It was just the first thing that came to mind. I had to type something in. I was like, Porkins Hogwater. That sounds good.
That was really good. It sounds like a professor at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Mr. Hogwater.
I started making it, but I never really, I didn't get too far. But he's a dragonborn paladin, which seemed cool. And that's kind of as far as I got. I put in a few numbers, figured out his age. He's a white dragon. or dragonborn. So he has cold like power, like cold damage. You shoot ice and stuff. But that's really kind of as far as I got. So I was actually, while you guys were talking about yours, I was looking up that big document that like helps you create the character, so I can get it in front of me, and then I can start on that one of these evenings. But
yeah,
so it reminded me a lot of like a calculus problem. Like you're going to different, like you need to go look at the log tables in the back to get a certain element, and you go back to the front of the book and you start figuring out more stuff, and then you got to go back to the other side of the book to go get other elements. But once you have it on your sheet, it's kind of good, because she would ask very specific questions, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking. Oh, there it is. This, because I did my work and I just happened to write it down. Tori's character was it was really funny because so Tori and Nicole was a dungeon master. Tori was sitting in the room with his wife, like, because they have two computers that are 90 degrees to each other. His name was Gror, and he was a mountain dwarf paladin. And she kept calling him Gore, and he would be in the background with his microphone off. He was like, "It's pronounced wrong." Every single time she would call him by the wrong name. It was really fun.
Yeah.
But like listening to him, like when we first started, getting the mechanics, like he's very experienced in it, so he would just like rattle off what he wanted to do, and just like numbers. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, he's just going really fast, and so he would have to like, he slowed it down at times for our understanding. He broke it down baby level for us, which is very nice of him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the story, all that kind of didn't matter. I think the mechanics of like what he knew which die to use or what modifiers to place where, like that's just with experience. But his part of the story was just as important as my part and Anthony's part and Forby's part. Like we were all a band of people all together. And I understand what she was talking about when we were at Workbench Con about making similar characters. Because if we were all the same type of person on that our adventure, it would have sucked. Like we wouldn't have gotten very far at all, and it would have been pretty terrible. And you can play off the strengths of other people, just like in a good team. But having somebody who can throw around like a smashy sword and a very sneaky person, and his character was pretty much a fighter as well, but like playing to different strengths was pretty neat. And there's stuff that like I researched my character. I didn't know what the heck a rogue could do or what anybody else could do. So when Anthony's like, I'm going to go be super stealthy and get underneath the tree and no one can see me and shoot an arrow and roll ball bearings and make people laugh, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, well, okay. I didn't know he could do that. That just makes the story even more fun because everybody's individual move is completely random and is a surprise because unless you have studied everybody, I don't know what you're going to do and I don't know how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it imagine seems like the permutations of the types of people and the types of races and the types of it's an infinite grid. What were we saying, Forby?
I was just going to say, I can imagine though, off of that, if you were to take a team and you're telling a story over multiple, weeks or months, and you're growing your characters, how the synergy of knowing what other characters can do and doing something with the intention of having another character follow up, and like how connected your moves could really be. Like I think that's where it would just get a whole lot more fun. I could totally see that.
And I kind of secretly I kind of want to make like a character who is the opposite of my character too. Which, I mean, I guess they just grow at different levels. Like, cause she wanted all of us to be level 5, so we're level 5, whatever's we happen to be. I don't know how to go to the next level. But if we were going to start one, we would just start all over, I assume, and then continue to grow. But
yeah,
the idea of having a character that would not react this way, like, makes me want to go deeper into the story, because then I have to make decisions that are not innate. Like, they would be, specific to that character. And that just seems really fun, just to go full bore into these mythical kind of stories. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time doing it. It was fun to watch. I just couldn't I couldn't last through the entire thing as an observer because it was a lot of just like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's funny. That's weird. And then just like sitting there like, huh, I can't really do anything here, but it was fun to watch. So hopefully I'll get my character ready to join you on the next one. You guys got anything else you want to talk through? Was there anything else that stood out about that experience or anything else?
I need some of my own dice. I was
Yeah.
using the digital dice roller in that I can't remember the name of the service we were using, the online digital playing board thing. Anyway,
Astral something.
Astral Table, I think. Yeah.
Table?
Yeah.
But like you could like roll your dice in the chat, but it was so unsatisfying because you just hit like roll d20 and a number would just pop up. I'm like, I need the gratification of seeing an animation. So I'm gonna either purchase or try to make. I have some resin now, so I could maybe figure out a way to cast some.
I made a set of dice on the Elegoo Mars that Elegoo sent us to test.
Neat.
And it's just like, it's the green transparent. And when I would roll it, like I don't have anything down inside the numbers. And so it was really, I would have to like pick it up and like twist it kind of odd, like that was a 16, not an 18. And it's got some little puck marks from the supports, and some of it's not super straight, but I mean, it worked. But I looked up and you can get a set of dice on Etsy for like $7 or $8 that are like super cool resin swirlies. And
I may have to do that.
It was cool though how the Astral Table thing had the game board that you could see everybody's character and the limiting of view and stuff. I think that if we were all in the same room, obviously, and we had a table to use in actual figures, I think that would be just as great. But just the fact that there was that tool for everybody to be able to play from different computers, I thought that was really, really a great help for visualizing everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
the limited view was really cool, and that was something I've never seen in a board game.
Yeah.
I mean, because in a board game, everything is right in front of you. But like she would have certain parts blacked out. And if you weren't pointing a certain direction or a certain distance away from it, it was still in shadow. So when we got to like the big battle scene, we were in a little lit nook and everything else was shadow around. So we had to determine which way we wanted to go. And so, I mean, we could have a huge strategy where like half of us go this way and half of us go that way. And you're just figuring out as you go. And I thought that was super cool.
It was. It really was.
Right on. Well, we'll wrap it up unless you guys got anything else.
No.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for everybody for hanging out and listening to mostly them talk about D&D. I really didn't have much to add to it, but hope it was fun for everybody to hear. And hope everybody listening is doing well and is hanging in there and, considering everything. Hope you're coming up with some cool stuff to do in your free time or your weird situation, whatever the case may be. But I guess that's it, unless you guys got anything else. So where can everybody find you? Josh?
At Josh_make_stuff.
I'm at Forby, at FORBY, on pretty much everything.
Yep.
And Anthony?
And I can be found at Anthony Films Stuff on Twitter and Instagram. And Minecraft.
There you go.
With one F on Minecraft, though.
Yeah, it's like our Twitter handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. Cool. Well, all of us are at I Like to Make Stuff on all the stuff. And thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.